UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here to bring an authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.
To me, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's done more with less than any player at that position we've ever had.
Welcome in, guys, on a Wednesday, I believe. We got a Wednesday here on Unpaved. I'm Sean Salisbury. I think you know that. Maybe you don't. If it's your first time in, welcome, along with Adam Sager. Adam G. Sager on Twitter. I'm at Sean Unfiltered, and we're grateful to be here. Segs, we got a lot of topics to hit today. I mean, new Monday Night Countdown, talent added. Injuries, continue to happen. Here's one thing you gotta and then we'll get to Segs, but just to ask fans, not the impact of the one in particular we're going to discuss, but you can't not play football. This is tackle football. You can't stop everything. You can't. How do we prevent the injuries? Well, how do you prevent the injuries? Is quit playing football. Yeah, is just shut it down. Hell. 11 on 11 flag football, you're going to get injuries. These unfortunate, and they suck. And when they happen like this, it's devastating. All those things I get. But you can't quit doing 9-on-7 drill, which is a run game drill. You can't quit throwing routes against air. You can't quit having, practices against teams. Matter of fact, I can tell you this, and I guarantee with all my heart. Practices against other teams, those practices when they come and scrimmage with you for a couple days in a row or what have you. I got far more out of those, and I think they're far more important than getting 8 snaps in a preseason game. I just do. And they're intense. Matter of fact, they're every bit as intense as the game. You see fights galore. You saw more. The Saints and I think it was the Cowboys getting after it. It's just you can't stop them. You can't quit having grown men play football. See, it's not a tackle, it's not a physical sport. It's a violent sport. Mm-hmm. And these injuries, a lot of these injuries happen. They're not happening on cheap shots. Most injuries in this league, preseason, during the season, during the playoffs, during the offseason, don't happen on somebody's cheap shot. I mean, a guy will get a cheap shot and be out. And they have happened. I'm not saying there isn't any. But most of those injuries are happening. A guy gets rolled over on in a big old pile of grown-ass men. A guy comes out of a route cut and shreds his knee. A quarterback hits his head, hand on a helmet, which you try to avoid by not letting guys rush, and guys are going full speed. Some guy's going to get blocked. And the first time I shredded my knee was in a game. Bruce Matthews, we were playing Arizona State, and Michael Richardson came up the gap. I mean, they were relentless pressure, came up the gap. And Bruce Matthews had a guy who was a late blitz. He was just trying to get a chip on him. Bruce put a hand on him, and Richardson was off balance, and I'm stepping in to throw a route, and off balance, I'm stepping in, and Richardson's coming, and he hit my knee going one way, full speed, falling into it, and I'm going the other. It wasn't Bruce's fault. We were playing football. It wasn't my fault. I was stepping into a throw. It wasn't Michael Richardson's fault. He was trying to make a football play, got hit off balance, and he ran into me, and something's going to give, and Michael Richardson's 200 pounds is going to outdo my, left knee. My right knee, and I shredded it, and that was that. And these happen in the practice field, but you just can't play football, get ready to play, and say, you know what, we're going to be injury-free because we're not going to do anything. By not doing anything, you're still going to get hurt. Guys are going to pull hamstrings. Guys are going to get rough. You can't prevent them. You can prevent cheap shots, but you just can't prevent them. My second knee injury at the same place 2 years later, I was on the same side of the field going in an opposite direction. and I'm running, put my foot in the ground. Cleats got caught. There was zero give. Shredded my ACL. Missed another full season. Right knee again. So I do know how to overcome injuries, and I do know how to survive. And these players will. But you have to have depth. And when I hear people, well, we got to stop doing this. Stop what? Stop doing what? Stop playing?
Right.
Stop, if you want to take away all the preseason games like college football does and just practice against other teams, practice against yourself, I don't. The truth is, I could care less, honestly. They love the money that's coming in because they still charging full price for a hot dog and for a game ticket. Yet, the owners are. So, but for me, if you wanted to do away, but the pomp and circumstance that leads up to it, football teams can get ready without a preseason game. You cannot get ready without preseason practicing full go and having those drills where your left tackle's got to block your edge rusher for 3 live snaps. You just can't. You cannot simulate real football by playing half-assed football. You'll get your ass handed to you. Well, Sean, if all teams don't go full speed and we don't have much of a training camp, guess what? Then the first week of the season, you'll have 75 injuries. Okay, injuries, knees, Achilles, hamstring.
For about a month and a half.
That's exactly right. So, Segs, I just wanted to, and I know we got injuries to talk about and the effect on a team, but I personally, when I hear people say, well, you can't do this, can't do that. Well, yeah, you actually have to. It's called football. We play, and they're going to do it in high school. They're going to do it in college. Take away the games in preseason and just like the Vikings playing against the Packers in a scrimmage, or Vikings playing like we did against the Chiefs, or against the Buffalo Bills. I'm all for it. Controlled, intense, whistle blows, get away. If some fighting, you're tired of beating on your own team. But the truth of the matter is you're going to have a lot of injuries in practice, just like you would in a game, and it sucks. But it's ludicrous and absolutely asinine to suggest people, we can't do this. Well, what do you want me to do? Just show up in the regular season? You think some of the football's sloppy in September now? Your head will explode watching how sloppy the football be if we don't have live drills during this time. You just can't prevent it. You just can't. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. For sure. It's something that a lot of fans just can't accept because they just get so angry at all the injuries, and it's just something that you can't control in reality.
I understand it hurts your fantasy teams and the rest of it, but you know what? I got news for you. The wide receiver in Houston doesn't give a fuck about your fantasy or my fantasy team. He doesn't.
Exactly.
He doesn't give a fuzzy rat's ass about it. So if he does, then that guy down the road probably be in trouble in the gambling world. But I'm not talking about him, any of us. I'm being obviously facetious about it. But you know what? Unfortunately, they happen, and then you get to work. And I haven't been through it a couple times in my life. It absolutely sucks. But better man, better prepared for it, because you never know what it's going to, and you never think it's going to be you, Segs. You never do.
Right.
And if you're one of those that can go like Brady your whole career and have one injury, shit, God bless you, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that happens. And 2 really freak injuries for me. A guy stumbling into me and get turf ended my seasons twice, and it sucked. But I guess you took a different unpaved path to get where you wanted to go, and it wasn't the same one. But you take it and you try to come back better. And it may not turn out the way that we all want it when you're injured, but there's different ways to get to the destination, I guess. And I had to take a completely different path than I wanted to when I first started. So there you go.
Yeah, for sure. One thing we've talked a lot about is ESPN and the changes they are making, with the firing of Ryan Clark and just kind of getting rid of certain kinds of talent over a little period of time here that goes away from the woke that they got so deep into over these past handful of years. Now, there's still some there, but they got rid of some of the bigger names. And the guy who created so much controversy just last week for sitting with President Trump at the Patriots games has become a much bigger part of the network year after year after year. And that guy I'm talking about is Pat Mcafee. We all know he has his show. He started his show, retired from football years ago, joined Barstool Sports. That partnership lasted a little while. Then I think he went to one of the gambling companies. I can't remember exactly which one. And then he moved on, and ESPN signed him and his show. So his show's there Monday through Friday during the day. Then he's doing College Game Day, where he's an analyst on the set there with Herb Street and Fowler and all that, or Reese Davis and all them, Desmond Howard. Now, Sean, he will join Monday Night Countdown as an analyst for Monday Night Football. And this, I think, just kind of completes the McAfee circle of we're going to have his hands in a little bit of everything. We're going to use his popularity that he has and try and bring ESPN back to the days when you were there, where it wasn't just a, it's not just a left-wing thing anymore, where it's all politics, it's all race, it's all everything we talk about. We're trying to get back to where it was fun with Dan Patrick and Stuart Scott and them guys, just with their.
You mean actually talking sports, Segs, and highlights?
Yes.
Yeah, what a novel concept.
Highlights, having fun, being able to go different ways with things. So with this move of McAfee joining Monday Night Countdown for Monday Night Football, I think it's pretty clear cut. McAfee is now the new face of ESPN, even over a guy like Stephen A. Smith.
And it sure as hell over me. In that old picture, boy, that hair was not a lot of gray in that hair back then. Nah. Eggs. Look at that. That's that promotional picture, Tito, where you got to tilt your head with the suit tied. Those are so awful. Like the one you got at the studio in the mall when you were like 16 years old. But they did. Anyway, Segs, listen. Let's first start out with. On Thanksgiving Day, what's the big parade, Segs? Macy's Day Parade, right? Macy's Day, yep. And you say, that's a one day a year. Mm-hmm. You let it all rip. The ESPN's executives, they have the Super Bowl this year now. There's going to be Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on the call.
Yeah.
Remember that, Segs, they're going to go Macy's Day Parade every single day through the Super Bowl. They're going to roll it out. They're going to every single thing you can possibly. You're going to see more promos on TV than you can ever imagine. With the Pat situation, listen, everybody, when you are the face of a all sports network, and say what you want, there are faces. I think Kirk Herbstreit's the voice of college football nationally, but I also think he's the face of college football for ESPN. Jay Billis for College Hoops. Debate shows it's obviously Stephen A. Smith. I think Scott Van Pelt qualifies as one of those faces. Mike Greenberg is on those shows all the time. There's a handful of guys that you would follow, like you get on that Nike team picture that they throw them in. There's 12 guys, the chairman of the board, they're there. And then you say, okay, now pick one who covers the full gamut. If you had a wrestling match, if there was a boxing match, if there was that he's going to be there. He's there. And Pat covers it all. Listen, you guys, I will never tell anybody how they're supposed to feel about a broadcaster and whether they like, his stuff or whether they don't. I think Pat is really clever. I think he is a master marketer. I think he's intelligent. And he skews to an audience that is younger. They're trying to bring in how much money the younger audience is spending. But I can tell you this, they're not paying him all this money not to get an ROI on it. So let's just talk from a business standpoint, Segs. They're riding the hot horse, man. They just are. They're riding it. They're playing craps and they're riding it. And he keeps coming up and winning and rolling dice. And he's got the dice in his hand and he keeps rolling them. And he is the most – listen, I know this is going to be arguing, but I don't know if there's much argument of who the most powerful talent at ESPN is right now. I don't know. How can you argue that he is? You just can't. There's other guys, but those other guys are commanding $15, $20 million, the Herb Streets and the Greenbergs and all that. But when you just talk about sheer the guy, he is. Because and now he's in air. He's got NFL. He's got his show. He's involved in wrestling. He's got College Game Day. If you're looking for the most popular shows there, the dude's on all of them.
Yep. So
I like Pat. Now I have never sat down. I've never been a guest on his show. I've never had Pat on our show. I'd love to have him, but I don't know how his schedule's crazy. And I think he's a needle mover, and it can be a needle. Listen, the great thing about big time talent, Segs, and great at everything, whether it was Howard Stern in his prime. Howard Stern's lost some fastball, that's for damn sure.
For sure.
You go down the list of media people that were at their best. It's not the one who has 90% that love him. It's the one who has about 60 or 55% that love him. The other 45% can't stand him, but they still tune in.
Yes.
It's that. What is that? It's the what is it? The 10% are never showing up. 10% are always showing up, and you got to lasso the other 80% or whatever that rule is. Segs. I don't know if that's how it's said, and Pat is a needle mover, and he lassos people and corrals them in, even if they don't like him. And I think, well, nobody likes people cussing them out and calling them names, but every single time they do that and tune in the monetization side of the social side and the digital side, he's printing money for every time you, and he's not stupid. Remember when Brian Bosworth, Pat's extremely smart. Remember when Brian Bosworth said, I don't know if you remember this, you might have been too young, but when Bosworth came into the league, he was a teammate of mine in Seattle. When Boz came into the league and he printed those T-shirts against Denver about Elway and stuff, or he printed also T-shirts about himself negative towards him when they were getting ready to play Seattle, Denver. Dude, and made a ton of money off him. And it was his company that was doing it, dogging himself basically, if I'm not mistaken about the story, and coming back with money that way, right? It's and Pat knows how to move the needle in a good way. And he knows standing up on a chair on College Game Day is going to piss some old school people off. And it's going to have the young kid that's a fraternity or sorority girl loving it, right? And so he gets it. He is no question, unquestionably the overall face of it. And he's going to get paid like it. And if he's moving the needle, I don't know what their revenue is from Pat and all his shows, the ratings and all that. But I can tell you this, they're not paying it unless he's producing it. I can tell you that, whether you like him or somebody else likes him. Listen, I think Pat is clever. He gets all the great guests with the machine behind him, and the booking agent, and getting him all the guests, and he calls them and is invited everywhere. And he's taking it all in and doing what you should do when you're hot like a quarterback. You're getting all this money, take it all in and grasp it. And it's going to piss people off along the way. I've never met a good broadcaster that didn't. I'm talking about it in the opinion world, not a journalist whose job is to report the facts. I'm talking about somebody who's not afraid to, I was never afraid to voice my opinion. I got a lot of people that may like me, and I had just as many that didn't. Oh, you're arrogant, and man, you're a prick. And then you'd get off the air and you'd see him in the bar. The same guy called you a prick. You'd buy him a beer, and they come back 5 years and say, "Gosh, dang, I didn't realize it." Don't get a lie. I mean, it's just because we have an opinion on something doesn't make us a prick or make us the nicest guy in the world.
Right.
So with Pat as the face of ESPN, and quite frankly, the dude is a needle mover. Now you get to decide whether you like him on certain. Now this is a move on Monday Night Countdown to get him with one of the, I think, the best hosts there, and Scott Van Pelt. Yeah. I don't think there's any doubt about that in my mind. Greenberg's in different way. I'm talking about overall Sports Center. Greenberg's great in the mornings, but Scott's there, and they're you're pairing him with guys that have some strong opinion. And Pat, once again, I don't think Pat's going to stand up on the chair. It's a different audience. Stand up on a chair with a shirt off with this, and maybe I'm wrong, but I like the fact that Pat moves the needle and doesn't really give a shit what you think, and that's a good thing. Now, he's not afraid to call out executives either. Most people are. He's not afraid to ruffle feathers, and that's why he's good. Aside from the fact that I feel like, and see, he's prepared. The thing you got to guard against with this, though. So good on him, man. I'm never a hater. Now, Segs, if I'd be a liar if I told you I get to watch all his stuff. I don't. The stuff I see, and certain shows I like more than others that he does. I don't know how I'm going to like Sunday Countdown. I don't watch pregame shows much anymore. But I do watch College Game Day for every hour it's on, and Pat moves it. Now, there's some things like Saban, you're thinking, man, this dude, but he is outlandish, and I mean that in a good way. He's outlandish, and sometimes you got to be, and they needed a change. I mean, when you lose the GOAT that is Lee Corso, you got to have some adapt and change. So, like I said, I don't know, Pay. He's not a friend, so I don't know. I don't know how he sings either. I haven't seen his album or heard it.
I haven't either. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. I have not listened yet.
I've heard some says it's really good, and I've heard some that say they would. So I'm never in anybody's wallet or never make it personal. So I like Pat. And in talking to people close to that scenario, the shows he's on, guys who work with him, work around him. I have yet to have somebody tell me anything at work about him being a team. I'm just talking about people that work with him.
Yeah.
They're being a bad teammate. Nobody. Now, you could decide for yourself whether you like his content or not. I think on College Game Day, he brings an energy. I'd still like to hear even more of Kirk Herbstreit, but I think he brings an energy. And Saban's outstanding. He's a good mix for it. Some don't like it because they feel like, well, he's ruffling feathers, and that's a good thing. I don't get to see his show as much. I see clips of it all the time of certain interviews because we're doing our own stuff and Pat's got his stuff going on. So listen, you ride the hot hand, and he is a hot hand right now, and he is a lightning rod on both sides of it. So you want to get in his wallet, say he's overpaid, other people are getting fired. It's not Pat's job to pay the other people at some other Sports Center anchor. His own crew he takes care of. I would imagine they tell you they're getting paid handsomely to work with Pat. So, Segs, I know there's a lot of I'm trying to grasp the elements of this. How will he fit on Monday Night? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you get him and Kelsey. I
feel like him and Kelsey will be good together. And
I think some think it's going to be too much. I've read that too, where some think it's going to – listen. I think it's football, Pat. And just because he's a punter doesn't mean he doesn't know sports prepared. My only thing is twofold, Sakes. I'm all good on all of it. I don't watch all of it for anybody. I mean, other than there's only a handful of shows that I watch, but I pay attention because I've been in the business so long. And when you're a needle mover, whether people like it or not, that's why they do it. They know Stephen A. Smith doesn't have all the people like him. Half can't stand him, half like him. And there's no middle ground with Stephen A. and there's no middle ground with Pat. And that's what there was no middle ground with doggone Howard Stern. There just wasn't. Hell, even in a far lesser, in my case, I'll speak for myself. There wasn't a whole lot of middle ground on me. There's very few that said, I sit on the fence with him once in a while. It's okay. Most of them were arrogant prick. He doesn't like my team, which is not true. He never had a problem with any team. Or, man, boy, I love him. He's passionate and he cares and all those things. So you get both. But my job's not to worry. My job and Pat's job, your opinion of Pat is none of Pat's business. It doesn't matter. You keep tuning in. That's the opinion you're showing. Yeah. So I love his energy. I would disagree on some of his content. I think he's at best when that energy's flowing. And I think that ESPN's doing the right thing because they're adding a guy who is moving the needle, Segs. Yeah. Even if you don't like, you're going to tune in to see what it's about. And so good on Pat, man. And I don't know him from Adam. I'm sure that we'd have a lot of laughs. I respect his grind. Two things for me, though, on the other side. And this isn't that he can't, but I'm just telling you things that happen. One is overexposure can be a problem. Yeah. You can overexpose somebody. And the guy who's in it, if I was in Pat's situation, I remember when John Madden was on TV all the time, 15 commercials a day and doing the games, but he wasn't on during the week at all. So you got, it was good. Then Sunday he'd get there, but then you'd get his commercials all week, but he wasn't doing football. He did one game, 1 day a week, and was the best in the world. Yeah. But you thought, well, man, is John oversaturated? You'd see him on this commercial, but it wasn't because he had a way of presenting, I'm just one of the guys. Yeah. So oversaturation can be a problem. And they got to guard against that because, he's giving a speech here. He's with the president here. He's on Monday Night Count. You're rarely turning on your TV that Pat's not on. Great thing for Pat. And if you're that guy, you're like, no, I'm not oversaturated. I'll take it all, man. I know that feeling. They keep coming. Saying no is a good thing. But it's hard to say no when you're riding that horse. You know what I'm saying? You got those dice, man. And the other thing is, Segs, as you know me, I'm a huge preparation fanatic. I didn't say preparation to turn you into a robot, but preparation to where everything you do, you may not be right in predictions. Nobody is always right. But I'm talking about your analysis is always prepared in everything. And when you got all these things, for him, I don't know where he's going to find the personal lifetime because he's got to prepare for this interview. I got to do this. People want him on their show. He's got to go here. He's making traveling here. I'm sure he's getting 6 figures of speech now and everywhere he goes. So those are the things that he's got to pay attention to, that you got to be prepared. Even the energy can hide stuff, but he is prepared. But when you're doing so much, it can wear you out. It wear him out physically, the travel and everything. And I'm sure he's flying private as well. So, but those are the things he's got to guard against and the oversaturation. But I don't know why. I don't hate anybody that knows how to move the needle. I don't have to agree with somebody and still, I can still like them.
Yeah.
On certain, and I mean, that could be anybody. My guy, Kirk Herbstreit. Hell, Dan's interviewing somebody. I may disagree with Dan's take on something. He's one of my best friends in the world. So, and I'm sure they do the same for me. I just approach it different. I don't hate a guy that brings something. Stand for something.
Yeah.
Don't be a bitch and stand for nothing. Stand for something. And Pat stands for something. He's energetic about a game. He knows how to pander to the crowd. That's part of that college game day thing. So I know I've taken a while in this, but it does need it, because with him, it takes a while because there's a lot to cover. Some don't like, some can't. We see it right here. Way too much for my liking. I get it. You go through, they start, and that's opinion, and that's cool. Yet, I don't know, if you sit next to Pat in a bar, you may love, he'd probably buy you 10 drinks. So for them, I like him. I probably think a little bit different on my approach to some things on the air than him, but that's okay. I could say that about 90% of the people that are on the air. But I respect his grind, and he moves the needle, and ESPN is going to milk this needle as long as it can. There will come a day when the Stephen A's, the Pats, all of them, that they're going to move on to the next guy. And right now, Pat is that guy. He's not just a guy. He's that guy. Hence why you're hearing the 60, 65 million. And if that's just salary stakes, not to mention all the other advertising money he's getting and the rest of it. So I don't hate it. I don't watch it as much as people that are grinders like that. I don't even watch myself on TV. I never did. You can go back, Segs. I was on TV 12 years, and I'll be honest with you. If somebody was critiquing me, I'd let them critique me. I'd take it in and go. I don't like to hear my own voice. I don't like to see myself. I promise you, as I sit here now, in 30 years of doing this, I have not watched myself in a bar after we were at a restaurant. It comes on ESPN when you were there. You're like, oh, man, we were just talking about that. It's the re-air is running.
Yeah.
I haven't watched myself 20 times on TV in 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, how do you critique yourself? I know what a good show is, and I know coming off, I may go back and watch a clip for 15 seconds or what I said, damn, I missed an opportunity there. I don't. I have not gone back other than our clips and watched one podcast since you and I have been doing this from start to finish.
Yeah.
I feel good about it. If I don't, I know the segment. I go back and Laura's got a great clip. I can find it. So Pat is there enough hours in the day to do it? But I don't hate anybody that grinds like he does. Much respect. I can disagree on topics or how he does stuff at times, but the reason he's good at it is he knows what he's doing. He knows how to market. He knows the PR side of it. He knows how to ruffle feathers, and he knows the right people to he got good people around him, great support team, and he's good. You guys got to decide if you like him or not. I don't watch as much studio show TV. Like I said, I don't even watch ourselves, so I don't watch much, but I watch clips. So good on Pat, man. But it's this is going to be a decision that they're going to hear a lot of shit, and they're going to hear a lot of good stuff about it. And that's another reason why Mcafee's a needle mover.
Yeah, I think he brings the perfect energy for a college game day that now with Lee Corso gone, and over the years Lee's been there, but he was not on all the time, and he was losing his fastball as he just got older, like everybody does. And Pat was the perfect guy to fill that role.
And at first I hated it, Segs. I got to come clean. And this is nothing against Pat. He went on there, and it probably would have been anybody. I thought David Pollock was really good. Yeah. I did. I actually thought David Pollock, that had nothing to do with Pat, but maybe it did because Pat took over. I thought David Pollock got jobbed. I thought David Pollock was next in line to be a regular every single week. Desmond's good. Reese is outstanding. Saban's, what a joy he is. Herbstreit's Herbstreit, the best in the business. And when Corso was there, I thought at times when it first started, and I didn't give it before you let it breathe, when we're first starting with a new guy, anytime they disrupt our show, what's going on? And I thought, man, this is a little outlandish, a little too much for me. And then as I watched and the interaction and how the crowd reacted, I said, well, shit. It may be a little too much at times, the shirt off and the big belt buckle and then I thought, you know what? I don't even want to say shtick. This is his this is how he does it. Then right. And so when you buy into what he's doing, whether you like it or not, I get it. And I've become a fan, and a fan because of the people I've talked to also that are around him, because I'm not close enough to know the everyday doings of it. So yes, Eggs, it was hard. At first I'm like, I don't know, man. And I was like, man, we're freezing Corso out, even though he was aging and the rest of it. And Pat's powerful. Yeah. He talks. And if he's got something to say, he'll interject before that. And that's okay. ESPN obviously wants him to do that. And it's a good thing. But at first, when you got this old school mentality like a lot of us do when our show is disrupted. It's like when they kill off one of our guys and bring somebody in on like one of our shows. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Well, it needed to be done. And when I moved to Houston, I had a friend tell me, Houston will grow on you. You'll hate it at first. That's Pat McAfee for me. I knew him when he played. I was broadcasting when Pat was playing, and I got all that. But how can you hate a guy that's carved this career out? That just, you know what I mean? So I'm a fan. I am, and I respect his grind, and I don't hate him for making the money, because eventually you say, well, more people are going to get paid that money. I wish I was in a position to have just one of the platforms he had again. They do. And there's people say, well, Sean, does it bother you? Not him, but I'm bothered that I haven't had an audition in 20 years. Like, damn. And it bothers them, because I still think that I'm, and I don't mean this a pat on the back, an elite analyst at what we do. But I am really happy for him. And I talk to people who are close to him, and they swear by him, and he moves the needle. And that's what TV and radio is all about. If we agreed with everything everybody said, it'd be a horseshit show. I'm just telling you it would. So, and Pat knows how to do that in a good way. Good on him. Now you got to decide if you like. I don't know what Monday Night Countdown is going to be like, Segs. I know one thing: Van Pelt knows how to control that. Scott's brilliant at that. So
I think
he'll
what
be really
Pat
good.
is so good at on game day is he brings out a side of Saban that we'd never see.
Agreed.
Even when
at first I didn't know if it would work, Segs. Yes, I'm with you.
But
100%.
Now we see more of Saban that, post coaching that makes him even, because a lot of people didn't like him. They all thought he was maybe.
Well, it seems like Saban has a personality outside of just coaching football.
Right.
No question.
Right. And it allows Herb Street to do what he used to do with Corso when they would have the fun. Now he has the fun with McAfee, and it doesn't feel like, if he wasn't there, it would kind of feel like, to me, it's just Dez kind of doing his thing, which is a little up and down in terms of energy. But then Saban and Herb Street just going strong football. Pat breaks that up and brings out the personalities in both Saban and Herb Street.
Pat knows exactly what he's doing. You great point by you, Sigs. Pat knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to rib guys like Saban. Listen, Saban probably went in there thinking a lot like you and me.
Yes.
Especially like, I'm old school. I'm going to talk. And before you know it, he's looking over at him like, well, shit, if you can't beat him, join him. And Saban's was showing you know what it almost feels like? When Brady was a player, we didn't really get to see much.
Right.
Wasn't doing many commercials. We've always been able to see it with Peyton, because Peyton's always had a great sense of humor.
Always
right?
had that.
But now we're seeing, Saban's not really all football. He's got a engaging personality. He'll laugh. He'll say shit on TV.
Yeah.
Like, damn, that guy's shit. Whoa, what? And the executives aren't saying. And then Pat will egg him on and beg him like, I love it. And he'll want him to say it 2 more times. So listen. It may not fit down your hallway that you're used to, and there's disagreeing's okay, but that hallway's got some energy in it, man. And you know what? It's just more money to pay Pat. Well, if you're paying him $60 million, dude, I may have to put him on. He may have to host the hot dog eating contest if you're paying him $60-70 million, because I got to milk every aspect of that needle moving Pat McAfee, because I'm just explain again. TV and radio, and when you get stuff on Twitter, I think people think that when they go on there and say, Sean, you're a prick and you suck ass, or you voted for this guy when they don't know who I voted for. They actually think that deep down that you're crushing my day.
Yeah,
you're not crushing my day. And I'll respond with, man, I appreciate the nice compliment. The key is you're not crushing my day. And every now and then it makes you get into a good battle, but it makes for good banter. You can fight among yourselves, but once that's gone, I don't usually think about some negative comment that was told me on Twitter 4 hours ago. You know what I'm saying, Six? Yeah, this is part of it. We know that if you're responding, good or bad, at least you're paying attention. And one thing I do know, McAfee, the lightning bolt that is Pat McAfee, the people are paying attention.
Yeah.
Now you got to decide if you like it or not. You can consider me a fan. I would give anything to be on one of those platforms. Not anything. One more time to have that run at it, because I think that we need non-fatigue TV and radio, and I'd like to give it to you, meaning just good talk with others. But what do you do, dude? You just keep on and try grinding on your career. I miss that part of it, the everyday competition.
For sure. We're just about 2.5 weeks, or we are 2.5 weeks away from our first college game day, September 5th in Baton Rouge, as LSU takes on Clemson. Get over to YouTube, like, subscribe, join the Unpaved crew at Unpaved Sean Salisbury on YouTube. Best way to support the show. All right, Sean, we got some NFL news and notes. We're going to run through some injuries, what they mean to each team, and what's the effect of these injuries have. Let's start in Houston. We've talked a lot about the Houston Texans and their moves this year with their extensions of Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter. They go out and get a guy like Jadeveon Clowney to help out those two edge rushers stay fresh throughout the season. They have a big season ahead of them. But the big thing we've talked about is the non-extension for C.J. Stroud and the importance of this season for C.J. Stroud, as the Texans have a Super Bowl defense. The offense hasn't been up to par under C.J. Stroud the last 2 years. And now, yesterday, they lose their number 2 wide receiver going into the season in Jaden Higgins to an ACL during practice with the Raiders. It's a big loss because now you're even more dependent on a guy like Tank Dell, who's trying to return from all, just the brutal injury he sustained.
Gruesome.
Yes, a gruesome injury. And then you have other young guys that now need to step up. It's a tough blow for the Tech. Now, if they lost Jalen Noel, not as big of a deal because he's just more that speed guy that can do a little bit of everything, kind of more that slot guy. I don't think he's as much of the offense. But Higgins and Collins were the 2 wide receivers, in my opinion, you couldn't lose for C.J. Stroud. And here they are. They don't even get a game of Jaden Higgins in 2026 because he'll be out for the season.
Yeah, this injury sucks, Eggs. He is a blooming player, man. This dude has learned quick, and he's got some game. And as we well know, both of those young receivers were coached pretty damn well in college, right? Mm-hmm. At Iowa State. Segs, did I not say yesterday and the day before we were talking about injuries, saying, please don't come at me and tell me, anybody, that when you lose a top-notch player, we're going to be okay. You may end up being okay, but on the very moment, your team was weakened. I'm going to tell you this. If I was the Texans and this injury would have happened 3 days ago, Keenan Allen's a Houston Texan. Yeah. If you're me, if it was me doing it. This is, Segs, I want you, honest to God, to find me. And I know, listen, people out there, I respect. I've been here 13 years in Houston. I'm not a Houston. When I say I'm not a Houston Texans fan, they're not my team. I don't have any special privileges. I don't do anything special with the Texans. I enjoy watching them. I think the way the ownership is shifted and the way that the McNair family has done what they're doing some great things, and their front office has gotten more solidified. Nick Caserio, all the way through. The head coach, D'Amico's a hell of a good guy, and the fan base loves their Houston Texans. Listen, so there's no homerism. I'm a Raider fan. Even then, I'll drill them if they suck. And apparently, they got their ass handed to them by the Texans on their inter squad stuff. I think, wasn't that who they were playing? Segs, man? Yeah. I think it's the Raiders. So, for me, this is major. I want you to tell me right now, anybody out there, you watching this podcast, you come on Twitter and we post the clip, you do what you want. You find me a glaring weakness on this football team. Find me one. You can't. There's no weakness on the front seven. When I say no weakness, there's no glaring weakness where you say that's a major hole. There is no back end. Matter of fact, that back end's strong as it gets, dude. The running game, Ad Montgomery, and you know what that the Marks can do. Backup quarterback in Davis Mills, experienced and good. Mm-hmm. C.J. Stroud, if he's 80% of his rookie year, the dude's he's a good player, and he's still done some good things the last 2 years, even though it hasn't been the same C.J. Stroud. The tight end position is elevated. The wide receiver, Nico Collins, is a monster. The coaching, where's the kicking game's really friggin' good. Where's the glaring? Yeah, where's the glaring weakness? There isn't.
No, I'll tell you what, C.J. Stroud step up.
Isn't it amazing that if I said that 3 years ago, people would have laughed us off this show, even though we weren't on? 3 years ago and said, what do you mean CJ Stroud? Well, I'm going to tell you in his third year, he's going to struggle in year 2 or 3, and he'll be the one we're wondering, can he return to it? No way. And then the offensive line, but they went out and addressed the needs. Now on paper, they are far better than they've been and nastier. So glaring, that's a wait and see, but they've added some players now.
Yes.
So you tell me where the glaring weakness. I'll tell you where it is, Segs, is the receiving course depth. When you take one away, because you're still wondering about Tank Dell, as you mentioned, who's been hurt twice now in his early career and an explosive player. Nico Collins, monster. But now you start to get, a couple young guys. Now this is a major blow. So for me, this is devastating. It is. Torn ACL. You got to go find somebody. Now, once again, you go back. CJ's not going to look at it as, once he say it's devastating, we saw how he reacted when Tank Dell got hurt. He was visibly bothered. But now it's on C.J. Stroud and incumbent upon him to elevate this team another level and next guy up. I hate that saying, but it is the truth. So this team's they don't have the glaring weakness will be one more injury at wide receiver, Segs, and your ass might be sucking buttermilk, man. You better get this thing, make sure that the depth goes, and then there's always somebody who rears their head and plays well on a team that you didn't expect. But this is. Segs, I can argue, second best receiver on the team.
Yes,
in my opinion. And so you take that away. Now you got to slot depth and move on down. And the next guy moves down, and the next guy moves down. Bam. So this team has got every element to win a division and be a heavy player in the playoffs because they physical on defense and a quarterback. If he plays well, they've got it, and they can run the football. Now, can you protect the quarterback, and does the quarterback get his confidence back and return to being C.J. Stroud, of his rookie year? With that said, this is a major blow and a concern, and I am very concerned about it because you need one hamstring or one other shoulder in the first 2 games at wide receiver, and now you're reeling. And what happens, Segs? It's the collateral damage and the domino effect. Now, what happens if you're a quarterback? You say, "Damn." So it's just human nature. I've been there. Gosh, 2 guys down. I got to make every play, Segs. And then what do you start to do? You start to try and fit balls to places they don't belong. That didn't sound right. You don't want to fit balls to places they don't belong, Segs. You just don't. Okay. But you try to crowbar in throws or your balls to places they don't belong. And then you start to feel like I got to play hero ball all the time. And before you know it, you've thrown 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter because you thought you could fit it in, or you were throwing to somebody else who maybe doesn't as quick getting out of their route. And now guess what? Now you're back to now they're starting to question you as the quarterback. And I don't care what anybody says. You can't tell me that C.J. Stroud doesn't feel a little bit fragile, not physically, but in a fragile position, Segs. This is a year big-time quarterbacks get their money. Year 4, I can get my extension. We haven't paid it to you. Why? Well, it's a big. You damn right. So now you start to paint yourself in a corner. So it's going to be judicious upon him to be able to say, okay, I still got to approach it as if he's on the field, meaning Higgins, and we're going to approach it that way no matter what happens, because that's what a great quarterback has to do. This is a deep blow early on here in this preseason for the Houston Texans. Absolutely.
Yeah. Another blow when we talk about a group that was injured a lot last year, and it had a big effect on the quarterback. That's Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Last year, you lost Rashawn Slater. You lost Joe Alt. Both those guys, top 10 picks, very good offensive tackles in the NFL. They go out, they get Tyler Biadasz for center, and then boom, he goes down with an injury, out for the year. He suffered damage to his ACL and additional injuries to the left knee. We'll see how long he's out. Most are projecting for the year. What does that do to a quarterback's psyche, his mentality, his mindset, when last year you had your 2 outside big dogs go down and you had to figure things out, and now your center, who you spent all offseason trying to get together with and make things right, now he goes down with a serious injury, and now
this follows the Chargers around all the time, Segs.
Exactly.
I can go back to receiver positions every friggin' year. You can go back to when Hunter Henry was there. Segs, it's like every year there's something that goes on with this. This is like they're the AFC's version of the San Francisco 49ers.
Yes.
Now maybe there's some with more injuries, but it always feels like there's a a star or a devastating injury to a key position. It's not a backup. It's usually a starter, right? It's this guy. And then this guy, Najee, right? Not Najee Harris. You go get him. What's he do, Segs? The Achilles. You talked about the tackles. We go back. Keenan Allen's been hurt in the past there before. Wasn't Mike Williams hurt for a while too, Segs, when he came out the wide receiver? And when he got there? I mean, it goes on and on and on. It's like a regular, some guys on the defensive side of the ball. It's like, what in the world is going on down in California with this stuff? Segsy, I'll tell you what this does. And I said this to you a couple of months ago. We were talking about heading into camp when you get injuries, or it might even been a month ago. We were talking about centers and quarterback exchange. There's only one saving grace to this. Is that you get time to work with the center now before the regular season starts, the other guy. Hence why, again, it goes back to off seasons, how important it is for front office people and scouts to load your roster. You need to find backups that you think you can plug in without batting an eye. Now, easier said than done, but I can damn well tell you you have had to do your due diligence to know that the other guy can get in, and he'll adjust. But as a quarterback, my job's to make sure that gets taken care of. But Segs, the one thing that every team I've ever been on, the one thing we open up practice with every single day, Segs, every day, quarterback center exchange. You get 3 quarterbacks lined up and go, okay, stretch play right. You get 2 centers and maybe another guy snapping it to you, like the backup, the long snapper, like David Ben would do it. Boom, stretch play, 60 outside, boom. Come back, go the other way, switch centers. You just go up in 10 or so minutes of quarterback center exchange. Toss, drop back, so gun under center so it doesn't destroy you. They have time now to get the backup and Herbert feeling, nobody feels good with their hands under center's ass, but feeling good about lining up and not having that be a distraction. Because, dude, if you just have to, here's the thing: you open game 4, even though the guy hopefully has some, either college or played in the NFL a little bit, the backup center, you go in there and now you're playing the Rams, and Aaron Donald's in a gap, and you got to block his ass. Or you're down at the goal line, which is so tough because you got to reach people. And a lot of times we're going one way and they're reaching the opposite way. So you got to ride your hands under the center's ass even while you're pulling out too soon. That didn't sound right either. A lot of innuendos on this show, and I don't mean them, but football can do that. And the ball lays on the ground at the 2-yard line, and it's a self-inflicted error, and you lose a game because of it. I've been there in high school. It cost us a game, and it sucked. So all these things, while you're working, at least now you're going to get a little experience knowing, okay, the first thing, we can't start a play without the quarterback having a ball in his hands. So you got to make sure you secure it. And Segs, there's that confident feeling. Quarterbacks all want the interior taken care of, right? We'll deal with at times outside guys that can climb the pocket. We can chip off somebody. We get the back. You ain't chipping interior with a running back on an inside defensive tackle. We don't chip inside. You chip to get him out. So it is it's so important to get that. More important for the quarterback's sakes and getting it, but for that dude to understand, snap first, block second. That's hard, especially when you got a football playing Jesse over you in the gap and you got to block his ass. So having it this soon, this early and where you got time to get worked out with the backup is important. But I was always more concerned with the guy who snaps the ball getting hurt than I was the exterior guys, even if they were pro bowlers and great players, because you could give them help with a tight end or an H-back or a back. It's really hard to give the center help when it comes to the guards help, but if they got like a bare front and everybody's got to block somebody, you ain't chipping. So that guy's got to block a full-grown man at 330 pounds and then get the quarterback the ball in the gun or under center, and it's a hard thing to do. Quarterback psychologically has to overcome that. That's usually what it is. It's that psychological advantage. Yeah, and it will be. Up next on the depth chart is the second-round pick from this year, Jake Slaughter out of Florida, who most draft pundits had as a very good center prospect. Right. Now, it's going to be different on him, Segs, NFL and college. I got news for you. You're going to see a lot of different, but that's why I said, well, hopefully he's a veteran. If he's a rookie at center, at least now he's going to be working with the ones against the ones. And you also now, Segs, you have to put him in. Here's the catch-22. You don't want Slaughter now to get hurt, but you got to play him in some preseason games because he's got to get some work. And you got to hope he's an Iron Man and doesn't get hurt too. But I can't go into the season saying we played him 5 snaps and we don't know what the hell's going to happen because his head's going to be swimming. Well, Sean, he played at a big school. He sure did. But every single guy is a five-star guy playing in the league. He's going to have to block. So, and his mentality's got shit. You ain't shitting, dude. I got news for you. And I wouldn't want any part of it. God bless those guys who do. They're a different breed.
For sure. Another injury we had was Alvin Kamara. I know, shocker, right? With injury. Hurts his MCL. Will be out at least a month is word coming out of New Orleans. Tough break for Tyler Shuck, who just lost Jordan Tyson as, the new incoming big-time wide receiver to match with Chris Olave. But you lose Alvin Kamara. They did go out and get Travis Etienne in the offseason, so Kamara wasn't expected to get a majority of the snaps or anything as he gets a little bit older. But just that other guy you can go to in the backfield was Kamara, and he still has a lot of wiggle, still has a lot of talent coming out of the backfield.
And he's a pro who could do everything, Sigs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Out for at least a month. Not as big of a deal as Biotish or Higgins, but still, you miss 2, 3, 4, and if it lingers, maybe it's 2 months now all of a sudden. So, not
and
good.
Kamara's no longer 23. Shags, he's been in this league a minute now, and he's been really good at it. But he's taken some punishment. And as I told you, I thought it was a great keep by the Saints to keep him for depth. And if you say Kamara, we need you. ETN's out. We need you for 4 quarters. He can go in there and do it because he's great at catching the ball out of the backfield. He understands offensive system and what they're trying to get accomplished. But this is a blow too. And think about where the Saints are thinking. They're thinking we made a lot of headway at the last third of the season with Shook getting the full-time go, and we've elevated. We went and got Tyson. Now he's hurt. And we want to give Olave and this passing game help and Shook help. Now we get a veteran backup running back who's starter backup, but a guy that you can count on. And bam, he's banged up, which diminishes your depth again. And in this division, we have no idea how the quarterback position is going to work out in Atlanta. And they got weapons. It's winnable. You don't know how frustrated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers people are going to be because of the contract situations there. And they're getting a little longer in the tooth. But, they're a better team when Baker Mayfield's happy and they're on the field, and Vita Vea is dominating the line of scrimmage. And then there's the obvious Saints. They're trying to climb this. And Carolina, we think they're continuing to make strides. So it's a winnable division. Even the Saints will have something to say about it, Segs. And now you're down 2 more offensive weapons, which adds more pressure to your defense. And we talked about creativity just yesterday about Kellen Moore. And he will have to continue to get creative, which also puts more stress on the starting running back to have to be able to go in there and take care of his business. So these things happen. Thank goodness Kamara's not a full season. If he come back quicker, then maybe you get him in 3 weeks. If it takes longer, it may take 6 weeks. So those knees and MCL. I've seen guys play in an MCL a week later. Segs, I played with a teammate, leave out. He had a semi-torn MCL, was playing in 6 days. I mean, so it was playing with it, and there's a threshold of pain that some can handle some things better than others. So another blow to a team who had big aspirations to make a Saturday moving day like at Augusta to move their way up in this division. And it is a winnable division by 4 different teams, the Saints being one a little bit longer shot, but they did have a good offseason, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Just some news that just came down. We've talked about the Seahawks in their cornerback room quite a bit over the past couple weeks with the extension to Devin Witherspoon, one of the best corners in the NFL. They went out and they signed Terrion Arnold, or they will sign him, but he will be put on the commissioner's list, so we don't know how long till he's playing. They went out and signed Trevon Diggs today to a 1-year contract just to kind of help settle that cornerback room. You've got Josh Jobe there opposite. Amanawari, can play a little bit of everywhere. You drafted Julian Neal out of Kansas this past draft. So you've got some decent depth there, but Diggs brings in a guy who's a veteran who can help out in different spots. Now we know he has a propensity to get beat deep because when teams were attacking
chance taker too
down the field. Yes. Cause they knew, all we got to do is one fake, and he's going to go for it because he loves interceptions.
And he had a lot of them that year. And
that 1 year he had a big year. but then teams figured out just double move them, and Trayvon Diggs is looking this way while the ball's over the top and for a touchdown. So we'll see how Mike Macdonald uses Trayvon Diggs this season for the Seahawks. We know that defense is going to be good because Mike Macdonald expects his defense to play very good. And ever since his time at Michigan under Jim Harbaugh, his defenses have been very good. So
Always.
From Michigan to the Ravens to now Seattle, winning a Super Bowl already. Decent move here. I'm interested to see how they use him. And if it's just, I don't think it's as a starter, but as somebody who can come in and provide some snaps when needed.
Yeah, been in the league a minute now, Segs. The question is, what guy are we going to get? We're going to get a hardcore playing his ass off, not taking plays off, not chattering and getting it done? Or are we going to get the guy who's a gambler taking chances? And what happens, you know how they always say, well, they got to read on the quarterback now. He's been in the league 2 years. Now they've studied him, so they know his strengths and weaknesses. Well, we on the other side of the ball know that about defenders too. A chance taker. Double move him. He wants to intercept everything and get it to the house. And I get it. But that'll also get you in trouble. And I assure you, you do that 2 or 3 times and you'll be sitting next to Mike Macdonald on the sidelines. So, but there's a, Segs, you get a guy who's loaded with talent in Diggs. To me, it's attitude, effort, and playing smart football. Because while there's a difference between when Dion was playing, Dion could take a chance, miss, and then make up for it while you put the ball in the air and catch up speed. Diggs ain't Dion. So a little more sound alignment assignment for Diggs, but you're not getting a guy who hasn't seen a lot of football. Just needs to be a little more disciplined with his football. I think his best football is behind him, but it's amazing what revitalization and a new venue can do for you, Segs. And I think the expectations, he's not going in as the guy. He's going in as one of our guys. And I think it's important for him. I think he realizes that just as quickly as he got signed, and we can cut you too if you don't come in here and do what you did when you were making all those interceptions, but do it the right way. Discipline for him will be his biggest key this year, and effort on every play. So they are the Seahawks realize in a passing league just how important a lot of corners and depth is. And this just adds to your depth. Now, what we expect from him, who is he? Maybe somewhere between the guy who led the league in interceptions or returns for touchdown, and the guy who was easy to beat deep because you could just bait him. Now the question is, are you going to get the guy in between who's just a solid player? This is an important year in the career of Diggs because he's no longer looked at as a star; he's looked at as a guy. So he'll have a chance to revitalize his career. I don't think his best is in front of him.
You mentioned it at the start of the show, the brawl that we saw yesterday between the Saints and Cowboys. It had a little bit of everything, but it was an all-out brawl. My favorite part of it was Brock Rechsteiner, who's, I believe, a rookie, maybe in his second year. If you recognize the Steiner name, it's because his dad is WWE Hall of Famer Scott Steiner. His uncle is also WWE Hall of Famer. But if you see right here, this is him with the suplex, which his dad and his uncle were famous for as being, they would suplex guys.
Never know when it's going to rear its head, Segs.
Yes.
Kid was watching.
Brock is very young into the league. Like I said, he's already been popped for steroids. So he's just all into
hence that's why the fight, dude. Maybe that's the fight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, tell you there,
grab my face mask. We're fighting.
Yeah, whoever 21 is grabbing your face mask and trying to yank you down, and you barely move. I think at that point you're just like, all right, I'll hit whatever moves. But what do you make of these training camp brawls when we get these practices together? I know you were talking about everybody's intensity is way up in these because you're finally getting to hit somebody other than your teammates. And I saw some former offensive lineman, I can't remember, basically kind of say like they may need to look into ending these because we see so many of these every single training camp. What's your take on these kind of brawls that we see?
Remember I told you, Segs, that it was good, the fight where the linemen get after it and they scrum and they get to the ground and then everybody protects the way. Nobody's swinging helmets, grabbing helmets, slamming people to the ground, breaking hands on those fights. Coaches would secretly like those. This is the extreme the other way, because they know your team's intense and, okay, we're ready to go. We got to start beating on another team. Now, these are the ones when you go in and the coach will stand up in front of it and he will destroy your ass in front of the team, all of it, saying, we can't do this. This is irresponsible. We're going to get hurt. Because now that fight started to borderline. Imagine if the suplex would have landed on the player's neck.
Right.
At least he was kind enough to land on the back and didn't slam him down. It was a mini suplex. And then the other side, imagine you're yanking the face mask and you yank it down, boom, you hurt the guy, and then all of a sudden he's got some nerve down. He misses a month. And then they start to spill over, Segs. These are the ones where it's like, okay, you rush in and an offensive tackle or fighting, play after the play, the guy keeps going, you push him, he push you, get around, everybody breaks it up, or you're fighting your own guy. Great. Okay. Quarterback, Cousins gets after it with Max Crosby, break it up, you're still tight. Great. Nobody gets hurt. These are the ones now borderline stupidity. That's it. Remember I said you got to know how to fight, know how to practice? Mm-hmm. This is one where neither team fought or practiced. If most guys are running around pulling people off, it's not a real brawl. It's a scrum. But then you get the guy who instantly goes to the face. You yank a guy's helmet off. And then what happens if some guy gets carried away and swings the helmet, hits a guy across the face and breaks his? Well, Sean, what if? Well, they happen. What you're trying to do is prevent it from happening as a coach. You want intensity. But you see Segs there, that intensity, that's real. That's not generated by some TV screen. That you're getting after it. You're pissed. You've been beating on each other. Now, screw you. You said this, I said this. Next thing you know, everybody's in it. We got a hockey fight that leads into the stands. So there is a way to practice, and there is a way to let your frustration out and fight. These are the ones that will drive coaches crazy, because these are the ones the guy falls down and shreds his knee, blows out his shoulder, and then you're wondering, see how stupid this is? What did we accomplish? We made our team weaker. I'm never backing off from a guy, but there's got to be, when he grabs your face mask, starts yanking on it, and if you're a teammate, you're going to the guy's rescue. But the intensity is one thing, and once again, some teams at times don't know how to practice. Well, Sean, is this practice? Yeah, it's part of practice. And part of practice is fights are going to happen. And part of fighting is you got to know when to, instead of play Mr. Tough Guy, I'm not backing down, know when it gets to a point, Segs, like a segment when it's run its course, back off, right? Just back off and let's get back and go play. Message sent. And now the next time you're playing and you go block him, go knock the shit out of him when you got a chance to block him. Or if you're the defensive guy, the second he gets the ball, give him a legal, vicious hit that's legal and knock his dick in the dirt. That's how you make that happen. But fights are good as long as they're controlled and you get the energy out, nobody gets hurt. When they fall into one of these where it moves 35, 40 yards and is keep up the sidelines and this guy's yanking on this guy, now you're getting to the point where then it's irresponsible to your team because you put us in a bind, and possibly if something like that happens in a real game, say where the guys are fighting like that, you ain't playing next week. So that's exactly right. So you got to learn how to practice, and you got to learn when to say when in a fight. Just like in hockey, you fight, get to the ice, we're jumping on you. Same thing here. Some teammate, the big fella's got to show up and knock these little guys around and say, get the fuck out of here. Get your ass back to the huddle. Okay, message sent. We know you're a tough guy. Now get your ass back. But I'm talking about the both sides, and get at it. You don't want to be punked, but you don't want to be a punk.
Right.
And there's a happy medium between the two. And to me, face mask grabbing and all that stuff it becomes a punk move. But I know linemen are scorekeepers too. You do that in a real game, they'll find you later in the game or later in the season if you play them twice. I know how that works. I've seen it.
For sure. And it won't be the last brawl we see this.
There'll be one today on some practice field somewhere.
There'll be somebody doing something
no doubt.
Stupid. Something we talk about, we'll wrap up the show here with just a few more little topics. We've talked about youth sports and where everything is headed, and we see all the videos on TikTok or Twitter or Facebook or whatever social media app you use, where parents are getting involved in games. They're yelling at umpires. They're fighting each other. They're yelling at the coaches. They're doing this. They're doing that. You got kids acting like assholes on the field now at 9 years old because they watch their parents act like idiots. So then they think they can act like,
and they're entitled little bastards sometimes.
It's everything in youth sports right now is just insane to me. And I've got 3 kids in sports. One's in high school. The other 2 are just turned 11 years old, playing baseball, basketball, football, travel in all of them. And it's just insane. And we hate to see it, but yet we watch them, right? Well, Kim Kardashian, who you wouldn't think like, what are you talking about? She is basically producing a show, I believe, where it's team moms baseball edition, where they will follow 7 families from the same team who go to this premier academy in Arizona. And basically it's just reality TV, like we see in everything, where it's yelling and screaming at other fans, each other, the coaches, the kids screaming.
She knows how to make money, dude. And
Yes.
they know the cameras are going to be on too.
This is where now we'll start getting into this. And if you notice, it says Team Moms Baseball, which means we'll get Team Moms Basketball, Team Moms Football. We'll get it all, And I was just reading through a thing about it, and it was kind of explaining the families. It's like the Baldries, or however you pronounce it. If you want to win and drink some wine, this is your family. If
Meaning they'll have wine and cups on the sidelines. Yes.
Yeah. The next family. If there's problems on the sidelines, it's normally the dad. So, it's set up for reality TV. Of course, you'll see the picture if you go see it up close. The moms are all very good looking, very attractive women who probably running around in yoga pants. And it's just some
made for TV events.
It's just, for me, it's spreading more negativity into youth sports, because now people will see how these parents who have lots of money, who are sending their kids to this big academy, and they're supposed to win and go on and play college ball and stuff, how they act. And then more parents will act like it, and then more parents will act like it. And then we just have more and more issues in the sports world in the youth side.
I understand people are always looking for a way to make money. I get it. Aren't we all? First of all, I've learned, and don't take this wrong, because, I'm in the scouting business and sports business. I've raised 3 kids in sports. I love the sport of watching kids play youth sports. I hate the business aspect. I hate this. I hate youth sports. I hate it, because you glorify bullshit. Now, if there wasn't enough already when some dad or mom are running out of the stands and diving and punching the referee in the face, or punching an umpire who got a snow cone, who's making $5-10 a game and can't stand the call, and that's my boy, you're not allowed to call it, but and then the got cameras on helmets. This is all for reality social media shit. Okay, do you think this show at all wants to depict the good side of teen moms or team of moms? Or do you think if you're one of those on that, your goal is I'm going to create more people following my Twitter and Instagram account, which is going to make me get another show to another show? They're not going on there. You didn't pick, where's the 200-pound mom?
Right.
It's just a mom that may not be attractive to some and attractive to others. Where's the mom who wouldn't spend 5 minutes with this group of bullshit because they couldn't handle somebody drinking red wine at 7 a.m. at a soccer event, but this being baseball? So, Segs, listen, I get the making money thing, and people are going to tune in and they're going to manipulate it. And then here's where the problem is. If you want to get a bunch of adults that look like fuckheads, then we see that all the time on TV. Yeah. And we know that there's no way, and maybe I'm wrong, there's no way a human being on some of these basketball, there's no way a human being, number one, can be that stupid. Number two, that the husband would sit there and say, oh, yeah, you can bang somebody else. I got you, baby. I'll see you at 12. I mean, all the shit they do. And they know the camera's on them, so what are they doing? You're creating chaos. That's what this is. But now what about the 9 or 10-year-old baseball little leaguer who can't wait till mom and dad fight with an umpire because now it's going to make them more famous? What good is this doing for you sports? Nothing. It's enhancing the career of a bunch of adults that are pouncing because it's a vulnerable situation, because there's a lot of dumbass parents that are helicopter parents that are full of shit and don't know how to raise their own kids, and they ruin youth sports for everybody. It's not the kids that have made me hate youth sports. It's the adults. And it's not fair to name all of them and put a blanket statement over all of them. But if you think this is finally a show about travel sports or elite sports, a show that's going to say, Here's how the parents do it. Stay out of the way. Kid plays. Support your kid. Let's go get pizza or McDonald's afterwards, or however old they are. If they're a little older, let's go get pizza or go whatever it is. Have fun with your buddies or whatever, and support it. This is going to be mom arguing with mom because she thought dad was checking out the other mom. This is going to be one strike that's down the middle, but the mom's going to say, oh, that's a ball. And then the dad's going to say, keep your mouth closed, because the dad's the calm one and maybe in one of these. And then they're going to get into an argument and talk about divorce. And then the kid's going to look up in the stands and he's going to get hit in the rib cage with the fastball. And then that other dad's going to go down and want to fight that dad. But really, it's the mom who's doing the yelling. So if you want chaos and toxic bullshit, I'm sure this is no disrespect. Listen, you present it, you put a pilot together and they love it. Oh, let's put it on. If you think this is an enhancement to youth sports and to make it better, it's not. It will take youth sports and drive it further into ground than it already is, where we got a 9-year-old wearing 74 gold chains and a thing right here and bat flip and a base hit single in the first inning because dad told him to. And the coach didn't discourage it. And then, mom, that's my baby. You're not going to do that. And then while she's arguing, she happens to have her cell phone on so she can, boom, go run that and get 700,000 likes on her YouTube. I'm sure they're all nice people, but they know how to capitalize on money, and there's another way to do it. But if you don't like youth sports now because of parents, I'm sure after this you're going to hate it.
Yeah, and it will be on Paramount Plus. I think it's set to kick off sometime.
So what are the chances one of the moms is going to be banging some of the other dad on the other side?
Oh,
I mean, is that going to be part of this, or is it just all sticking to baseball, or is it basically basketball wives in the NBA, and we're letting that filter all the way down to sidelines or in the stands of a youth baseball game?
Yeah,
8, 9, and 10-year-olds. Yeah, that's a great example to the people talking about video games ruining everything. I got news for you. Some of these shows aren't exact because it's going to be made for TV. Every single one of them know the cameras on them, and this mom's going to want to be a bigger star than that mom and make sure her ass is a little fatter than the next one with a pH. And so maybe a little side boob showing on that one. And then there'll be the mom who's cool as hell and goes about it and then falls into the trap of, oh, I got to start yelling and screaming to get pub. And then we're all going to say, no, just be a good youth mom. But it's Kim Kardashian. She knows how to market and make money, and God bless her for that. It's not a show I'll watch, but I'm sure you're going to show me a clip each week so I get pissed off at it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to follow the show. I may watch it just for clips, just for this show, just to piss you off, piss JB off.
Oh, it will.
Yeah.
Suburban moms, I got news for you. Check their coffee cup.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
It ain't going to be free.
That's everywhere.
If it's coffee, it'll be mixed in with whatever booze you could fit in some coffee. Who doesn't like a little hint once in a while waking up of a little Bailey's? I get it. But when you're saying, hey, man, it's an 11 o'clock game. I got the wine and it ain't Gatorade, okay? Right. And by the end of it, you're slurring drunk and you smell like an alcohol distillery and just show me your tits.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. And then they're mad when they're showing. Then you've got side boob, and then somebody makes a comment on side boob. How disrespectful you are.
Right.
Well, I saw your areola. What'd you want me to do? Okay. Well, I'm trying to watch a kid go oppo. Okay. Jeez.
I've been in a lot of games over the last 4 or 5 years of.
There'll be a few Percocets mixed in and some anti what do they call it? Some antidepressant, dude. It'll be gobbled up and you think it's just gonna be booze on those sidelines? Get the fuck out of here.
No, not at all. Not it.
One of them's, I'm sure, dad. One of them's, I'm sure, husband's a pharmacist. Okay, don't kid yourself. It'll all be tied in before you know it. Then you're gonna wonder why your kid's got a dip in his mouth when he's 9. Okay, great. Yeah.
Oh, man. Some of the shit I've seen is just wild. And
show us your tit. No, this is a youth show.
This is a 10U baseball game, sir. Like this is strip club.
2 balls and 1 strike. Areola on the. I mean, not Jake Arrieta. Areola's kid. I mean, no, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. Cussing out the umpire who just got a rainbow snow cone for his pay for missing balls and strikes because he's 9. And they asked him to fill in for the dad who's got to work 3 jobs to support his kid in college. And yet we got, desperate housewives for the moms at a Little League show ruining youth sports. Thanks. While Kim Kardashian adds to her $1 billion empire. Awesome.
My favorite story real quick was I took my daughter to one of her travel basketball games. I wasn't coaching or anything. So we get there a little bit early, and we're watching the game ahead of hers. And this guy, this older black gentleman, in a night, like it was Sunday morning, later Sunday morning, you could tell he just came from church in a nice 3-piece suit with a vest. I mean, like he's decked out. He's got, gold rings, chains, bracelets, everything on. And he's standing probably about 6 feet to my right and right at the corner of the court. And I don't even know if it was his kids playing, because he showed up after the game was going on and he starts chirping one of the refs. And,
of course he does.
He's just in the ref, which made it even funnier, was this little, I'm not kidding when I say 5'3", little tubby black guy, like couldn't really get up and down the floor. And the guy in the suit was probably about 6'2".
He was fat, Segs, is what you're saying. He was fat.
He's about 6'2", the guy in the suit, and he's chirping this little guy. And I'm not kidding. It didn't last more than 3 minutes, the chirping. And the girl traveled, and the guy in the suit yells at him. He turns, the little guy, and immediately squares up. Like, doesn't say anything.
Come get yourself some.
And the dude in the suit just stepped forward, and they just threw hands for about 30 seconds till people broke it up. But I mean, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen, but also the craziest thing I've ever seen. And it's just like, what the fuck are we doing here?
This isn't teen moms. I mean, double team moms maybe, but teen moms, yeah. I mean, it's going to bring a new addition to, hey, we're watching youth baseball. Man, do you see that guy went balls deep? No. You mean the 10-year-old that hit a home run for 205 feet over the 200? No. It's the dad with the oversized tires and a lift so bad you have to have your front seat is the high jump pit because you got to jump so far to get in. And I obviously I'd like a truck too, but not one that I got to stand on a ladder to get in. But that's it. But oh, dude, are you kidding me? Give me at 7 o'clock in the morning. Hey, honey, did you pack the Yeti? Yeah, honey, it's in the car. Well, before we go, let's do a line of blow. Make sure we got the bourbon and the vodka in there and some wine for my girls. And man, I can't wait. What are you wearing today, honey? Oh, a sundress with nothing on underneath. But the sun's shining through. It's sheer. That's cool.
It don't matter.
Oh, cool. All right, cool. Well, who are we playing today? Oh, who cares, man? The camera's going to be rolling. Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah. Ladies, yep. It's there. That ball went deep. It sure did during the game and after. So, and then the kids are going to be sitting there and they're the ones who lose it. It's like, why are my mom and dad screaming at each other in the stands while the cameras roll? And what do the parents that are there just to actually watch baseball and their kid try to get better do?
Yeah.
Now, this is no disrespect to the elite group that's trying to get these kids better in Arizona. But you talk about pouncing on an opportunity, and you know what? They'll probably make a fortune from it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because, once again, like I said, broadcasters, it's not who loves the show. Some do. It's going to be also those ones that just can't – they got to watch the car wreck.
They just love the drama.
Yes, exactly. Love it.
And that's what
it'll be anything
turned into. Just give me the drama.
Toxic.
Yes.
Through and through. And like you said, they line up 7 or 8 moms. Yeah. Like 7 or 8 moms that just walked off Newport Beach and Arizona State's campus in Arizona say, well, yeah, we'll just, since it's in Arizona, Scottsdale's Old Town. Here you go.
Yep.
Here you go. Yeah, well, man, while the dad's sitting behind one and mom's G-string sticking out the back of her jeans and the dad's trying to watch his kid but can't, and then all of a sudden the cameras, I mean, I can already see the visual because we've seen it on these shows regularly, and you see it on the – that being said, let's go youth sports, everybody's favorite.
Youth sports. Yeah.
Amen. Let's go. Woohoo. Yeah, love it. Maybe your kid should transfer if he's playing in that league this year and go somewhere else. But
yeah, I seen some it was local here. Some kid was moving travel teams, and they did a full on like colleges, like kids pick colleges with hats.
Oh yeah. I'm in the portal.
Tried out.
I'm a free agent for. Oh yeah.
Was asked to be on all of them, and he did like a full sit down and
wants paid now though, Segs. He wants paid to go play for a certain travel team. He doesn't want to pay the travel bills. They want to get paid to go play for travel. What grade you in? 6th, 4th?
If my son asked to do that, or if a kid on the team I coach for did that and our hat was on that table, I'd look at our coach and be like, I ain't fucking coaching that kid. Hell no. tell them to take that hat off the table because
yeah, guess what? Because I get to choose who plays on my team. Yeah. That's a reason you're not playing on my team.
Those parents are the ones you don't want around that allow that.
And then there's so how's the coach? Does the coach going to play into all this? The manager,
I was thinking,
is he going to play into all this and encourage this with his kids so it's a toxic through and through down to an 8-year-old? I don't know, man. I just it's not for me. I don't watch that kind of TV. But you know what? You'll show me a clip and I'll watch it and I'll either be pissed or just laugh and say, "What did you expect?"
That's why I can't wait to get to my boys are just entering middle school. Get me to high school where they're just playing sports in high school and you know, we'll see where things go in terms of if they're playing some travel baseball, depending on what they want to do. But just get me to high school sports, and I'm good because, you know, it's pretty controlled there. It's when you get to these travel tournaments in basketball, in baseball, where it's just insane. Volleyball is another one that's insane.
Segs, I'll tell you, I've been recently been approached about head coaching a high school, okay? Head football coach.
Mm-hmm.
And this is over the last couple months. And do you realize, you know, what the hardest thing for me to do? You know why it's the hardest thing? And I'm involved in recruiting every day, as you know, to separate, to find the in between, the nonsense. Yeah. I don't mind the grind and it, but you know what? It's dealing with parents. And I've told the people that have been talking to me, I said, one thing you won't do, and if I ever decide to take that job, I don't care if the booster gives $5 million. If his quarterback's son is not as good as the grinded out kid who's playing, he ain't playing. I don't care if he gives $10 million and changes the whole name of the school. And if you can't handle that, you shouldn't be talking to me. And the second a dad wants to bitch at me or a mom wants to bitch at me, my first suggestion is get your ass down here and put on coaching clothes and come volunteer, and I'll pay you your $4,000 stipend and we'll get rolling.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Be happy to do it. Show us what you got. Otherwise, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Okay. And when you're the coach, I'll sit up there and shut my mouth too. So that part for me, I want people to communicate. I want everybody engaged if you do it, but don't come down here and tell me you ain't buying your kid into a spot for me. And if that's the case, then I'm the wrong guy for the gig. I still might be the wrong guy for the gig because I don't want to have football parents come to the game and leave us alone when we're practicing and coaching.
Come up here and coach my son's a youth football team now, and I'll just sit on the sidelines and chirp you the whole time.
No,
like, that place sucks.
Yeah, of course, but I'll put your ass. The second you say that place sucks, I'll put your ass to work, and you're calling the next one. So I'm not letting you sit over there on the sidelines and chirp. Your ass is going to be in coaching shorts, the old school bike coaching shorts that are nut huggers,
right?
That have the two buttons at the top there.
Yeah.
Hell no, your ass would be right there. I wouldn't take it if you weren't out there coaching with me. But rest assured, somebody else will be chirping. Because their kid's always better. Have you ever noticed that kid? The backup's always better than the guy you're starting.
Yeah.
But I got news for you. That's why I'm not cut out for it at times to think that because a booster gave $500,000 that his kid deserves to start. Well, is your kid the third best or the best? If he's third best, that's exactly. He'll have a chance to move up if he's good. If not, he doesn't play. He's not playing.
Yeah.
The guy who's better than him's playing. If that kid had to borrow money to play, I'll buy him his shoulder pads. Exactly right. So we'll see.
For sure. We'll see. That'll do it for Unpaved. You can watch Team Moms Baseball Thursday, September 24th on Paramount Plus, because I know now everybody in the comments is like, I got to watch.
Must watch TV.
Yeah,
exactly. TV. Yeah, and now I'll probably tune in to see how this show opens up and how the manager gets involved. And it just
maybe they'll put out a trailer at some point, or maybe there is a trailer and I just haven't seen it yet. Maybe we'll find it and watch it.
Yeah, adults, please. Just support your kid. But I'm not telling you how to raise them, but support them and
give us all the drama.
Most of your kids, 98% of the kids that go through it are not going to sniff Division I, and 95% aren't going to sniff the scholarship. So what are you going to do to get better? I'm not sure reality TV enhances that. That's just me. But what do I know? I'm just a simple caveman.
Yeah, definitely not. All right, get over to YouTube at Unpaved Sean Salisbury. Like, subscribe. Join the Unpaved crew. It's the best way to support the show. Follow Sean at Sean Unfiltered, myself at Adam G. Sager. Tomorrow we'll talk about Georgia did something interesting.
Classic,
I believe it was.
All-timer. This is how endorsements are supposed to be done, Segs.
Yes, just because it fits Georgia perfectly. I'm sure you can gather by the context of what we're saying exactly what they did. We'll talk.
It'd be the equivalent of my USC Trojans endorsing Magnum. You know what I'm saying? Or Trojan condoms. You get my point. For the name I'm talking about, Segs, nothing more. The equivalent of this in a different walk of life, right?
Yes.
Why aren't they? If you're a USC Trojan, shouldn't you get a big NIL money from that? You're a college guy. You want to be safe sex. You want to prevent. Shouldn't you be NIL in one of those? You don't want to raw dog it, do you?
No.
Raw dog it. You got triplets and you're a junior in college. Tough.
Yeah,
scholarship check ain't covering all that, dude. Yeah. No raw dog it allowed in college, man.
No.
Right?
We'll also talk. I just saw this tweet, so we'll talk about it. Jalen Hurts threw 3 interceptions today against the Patriots.
Cancel the season. Got to cancel the season. He's done. He looks. Yeah, he's awful.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to hear those comments on Twitter. Oh, he's not the guy we thought he was in a preseason practice, but he's got a Super Bowl ring. But I digress. So can't wait to talk about that.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central, for the Thursday edition of Unpaved. We're close. We're getting closer to actual, real, meaningful football in both college and NFL. We can't wait. We got a lot of good stuff coming for you here in the next few months of football season. All right, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Unpaved, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
John Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.